right, happy Friday, guys. Sorry I haven't done a video in a few days. I was teaching a few Trading Challenge students in person in Miami, then flying back to LA for TV show filming. So I've been a little out of the loop the past few days, but finished the week strong. I am now up roughly $10,000. I've locked those profits in. Today, I just had a nice little earnings winner on SPU, made nearly 1,000. Sold my YOD, which I've been holding for a few weeks now, for small profits. And most notably, I nailed NES. I was wrong a little bit on AMCN, so I'm like 3 out of 4 today. But I'll accept. I lost like 2 cents a share here, or 3 cents a share. So I don't mind losing a few cents as long as my overall profits are up. And between all of these, I made nearly 2,500 today. This one was made during a live webinar. So yesterday I taught students in person. Then I flew across the country to teach even more students on a webinar. I work my ass off because I want you guys understanding these plays, and it comes from studying videos just like this, understanding the patterns, having a framework and a plan before you enter the trade. You don't just buy a stock because you're like, oh, I think it's good, or short a stock because you think it's going to go down. I have a very specific structure, and that is why you have your final opportunity this weekend. 2 more days, the sale of the century for my 34th birthday will end on Sunday night. So please, please take advantage. Save 50% on all of these different newsletters. Save 50% on these DVDs. I mean, we have so much going on. It is pretty freaking amazing. Where are the DVDs? I have too many things open right now. I can't even concentrate. What is it? Oh, it's Timberth. I have a weird website. Timley/Timberth. Here we go. Here are the DVDs that are on sale. I'm not organized. Frankly, I'm overwhelmed. The students who I taught in Miami saw that. When you have all of these students who are making hundreds, thousands of dollars pretty much every single day. I mean, last week we had 2 days in a row where students made 200,000 and then 300,000. And it's all from patterns in these DVDs. My How to Make Millions DVD, 35 hours, $297, your last chance. All the money goes to charity. We've now raised over $500,000 in just a few months. Spikeability is my latest DVD. It's specifically for stocks on the long side. Answer Stock, Timdicators, Timline is a must-watch DVD because it segments the day up, so you see like what I expect, different patterns during the day. Penny Stocking and Penny Stocking Part 2 are my 2 most basic. Penny Stocking Framework is this amazing 7-step framework that still works. School Trader is this kid Connor. He's just a teenager and he's made nearly 400,000 while trading from school. He gets like detention. And we also have How to Trade Options. These are just some of the DVDs, but I want to talk to you about NES because I think this is a very good example to show you, why this stock is breaking out. You might remember I was buying this here on the first day of the breakout after they reported earnings at 479. It is a multi-month breakout above 440. And you can clearly see, it tried to top 440 a few times, couldn't do it. So yeah, that's nice. But how did I know to buy it at 479? Sold it in the 5s. Tried again to buy it in the 5s, and I basically was break even. Tried buying it yesterday in the 530s, and I was roughly break even. But today, I absolutely nailed it. I could not have given a better buy alert right here. The day low, I think, was like 511 or 512, and I got it at 514. 5,000 shares right in front of a live Trading Challenge webinar. And, it went to the 520s, but it wasn't a gimme. And then it spiked up here, and I sold into this spike because my whole goal was just to buy it in the dip and sell it into, a little bit of a morning spike. I didn't know how far it would go. I had no idea it would go to 6, but I'm glad to see how it, goes further. One of my other trades earlier this week was on HCKT. Same kind of thing. Big spike on good earnings, comes down. I missed the breakout here at 10:45. It went all the way to 11, but I nailed the dip right here at 10:55, and I bought it in the 10:55s. And over the next 2 days, it spiked all the way to 11.7. Here it's at 11.30. So it's still up nearly $1 a share from my dip buy. So I want to go over why am I buying these specific patterns. First, I got to mention a few students. I'm sorry, I totally forgot to copy and paste so many people in the chat room. There's literally hundreds of students who are banking, but I got to call out Riley Chase made $200 his first day long on just a $3,000 account. Shy Guy, $2,300 unrealized profit on his MNGA long. Shy Guy made $20,000 a few weeks ago on one of his longs, which was pretty sick. I know some of you guys want to see what ONTY. I mean, this is just the runner today. We have a runner seemingly every single day lately. ONTY is today's runner. I totally missed it. MNGA is another one, and this one is running up. This one actually never really holds its gains. So this is a little bit of a surprise, but welcome to the bull market, guys, okay? I missed this one too. I only nailed really one stock today. SPU, you know, I gave my buy alert in the 130s, and it went to the 150s, and now it's in the 140s. So I made some money there. This one was actually the chat room. Props to, I think it was a U.S. Marine Corps guy who was saying how they reported earnings, and it had already spiked before I bought it. You know, I don't like to be first to find these stocks, but I like piggybacking. You know, just like NES, the stock had already spiked before I started buying it. I was buying it at 479 here. It was already an earnings winner. And, you know, then I bought it in the 5s and the 530s, and then today at 514. But all of this is preparation to get to 6. And I'll go over that in a second. I got to give props to NB Cramer, up $400. Chuver is up 850 on his ONTY short. You can go long and short. Hanlin Chen is up 800 on BSQR. I went over BSQR. This was another earnings winner right near the beginning of the webinar. You can't really see it now, but there is one downtick here. From 545, it went down to the 530s. I was busy with AMCN, which actually failed to break out. But this one dropped for a minute or two, and then when it took out the day high, there was a big seller here at 540. You got to buy this earnings winner. It's a low float play. It's chipping away at a big seller at 540, and it goes straight to 620. I didn't send out an alert. This is how these stocks spike, and even though it's come down, and I'm not probably going to touch it, I like how it can spike. I really like its spikeability, and if you watch my spikeability DVD, you'll really better understand this pattern. But congrats to Hanlin, Chuver. He was up 850. Now he's up 875. He actually finished up, I think, 910. And this is awesome because Chuver said with my short on VBLT and today over 5K profit on the week. And these are people trading with small accounts. So if you can make a few hundred here or there, it adds up. He's up 5K this week. I love this comment. I had to include this from Black Cyber. I'm down 150 today, but I learned a priceless lesson. And that's sometimes useful. You know, I learned quite a bit too from my losses. And that's kind of your market tuition. You know, you're paying the price to learn lessons the market will teach you. And hopefully, you know, if you pay me for DVDs and video lessons like this, you'll learn even more. And, you know, yeah, you pay me, but it's a little bit. You know, I get emails from people who are like, Tim, I don't need your video lessons. Screw you. Why do you think you know everything? I'm going to do this on my own. And then a few weeks or a few months later, they're like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm back. I lost $20,000 on my own. I'll pay, you know, $300 for this DVD that could have saved me. And that's what it comes down to. You know, you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to learn from me. But I try and share everything that I've learned over 15 years in the hope that it can make you money and in the hope that it can help you avoid a lot of boneheaded mistakes. I still make some boneheaded mistakes, but I've really reduced my losses. And big losses is, you know, the biggest problem of many people. So here is Pablo's first week of trading, and he made 650 on MNGA. And then Elbin Carr was losing money all day, but thanks to NES, I'm even on the day. All it takes is one. And I actually said don't chase NES in the high 580s and 6s, because I don't like chasing a stock that's A, gone more up more than I expected, and B, this is a choppy stock. The only time I would buy this is on the dip, and I got a great entry price, and I sold into this spike, and I made nearly 2 grand. Right now, if I was still holding, I'd be up like 3 grand. But when I make 2 grand inside of an hour, especially during a live webinar where everyone can see, it's very inspirational for them. So what did I see? And I'll go over this. I'll actually post this webinar later just to give you a taste of what my trading challenge is all about. I give webinars weekly. My first millionaire student, Michael Good, gives webinars weekly. My second millionaire student, Tim Grattani, gives webinars every other week. We're all trying to just teach you from what we do right and what we do wrong. We all make mistakes. We all have winning percentages of 65 or 70 or 75%. So we lose 20, 30, 40% of the time. But our gains are bigger, and that's why we're all millionaires and multimillionaires. So I'll tell you exactly what I saw in this setup. And this is no different than what I teach in my DVDs. This is just one example. So the biggest thing is that it's an earnings winner already. I'm so sick to death of people saying, oh, company XYZ reported good numbers, it's an earnings winner. No, it's not. Do not listen to Bloomberg. Do not listen to CNBC. These big financial media companies only show you analyst estimates, and they're all based on valuation and fundamentals. They are not networks for traders. They do not take into account technical analysis or short accounts or short selling at all, which is, to the detriment of their viewers. That's why their viewers are at all-time lows. That's why my viewers are at all-time highs. People eventually gravitate to what works. If a strategy is not working, yeah, it might be entertaining to watch CNBC, but most traders lose. Most investors fail to beat the simple S&P 500. I think it's kind of funny, that you have all these strategies out there and all these people in high-priced suits and stuff, and they can't even pull in 15, 20% per year. Let me just show you something real quick. I got to show you my ETrade account. ETFC. This is it. I just created this today. So this is my ETrade account, $63,000. And I trade with a very small account, and you can see this is just, I took this screenshot like 15 minutes ago. I started this account February 2nd with 30,000. So I am now up over 100% in roughly 100 days of trading. Not even 100 days of trading, 100 days. So it's like 80 days of trading. So I'm averaging roughly, 500 a day. I don't know the exact math, but when you can grow an account like this is how you really can get rich quick. Forget about making 15, 20% per year. I've been averaging 15, 20% per month, and that compounds. And it's because of plays like this. So how did I know to buy this? I didn't know that it was going to go to 6. I'm not going to claim that, but I did have an idea that I was going to go to the mid-5s. And it was because there are 6 million shares that are short of NES. As I was explaining on the webinar today, and I'm just going to rehash over here, this stock is down from the 50s. It's down 90%. So when you have a stock that's down 90% and the company just reported better than expected earnings and it has a multi-month breakout, those shorts are probably going to get squeezed. For all of the volume the past few days, the volume is still only 1 million shares a day, less. So it's going to take at least 7 days, maybe 6 days, if every single buyer is a short seller who's covering. And not every buyer is a short seller who's covering. A lot of these buyers are people who are actually new to this company, like I am, and we're just buying because we think it's going to go up. But this is a short squeeze. This company is not doing anything amazing. It's just because their stock is down 90%. Short sellers who have been betting on it going down, they're sitting on very fat profits, but they're only unrealized profits until they buy to cover. That's how you close out a short position. So when they're buying to cover, that pushes the stock price up. And that is why you have this trend. And that's the beautiful thing. You don't have to guess earnings ahead of time. Somebody was telling me to buy Loco because it had a technical breakout yesterday above the previous high. And I said, no, I will not guess earnings ahead of time. I like to buy stocks that have already reported numbers. I don't have to guess if they're doing well. I just have to understand how the market works, and I can piggyback that. So Loco, technical breakout yesterday. All these technical analysts were like, oh, this is a good sign. Earnings are going to be good. Nope. And they lose $5 a share. No possible way to cut losses quickly. That is terrible risk reward. So with NES, the company had already reported earnings. I have made money now, 4 days in a row because I've been buying it, and not much. I didn't make that much these 2 days. I made like 2 cents and like 5 cents. It didn't spike. But today, I made 30 cents. And this was my biggest win. Again, I mistimed it. Right now, I'd be up 70 cents. But the point is that I knew the trend would be going higher. I dip bought. I alerted subscribers. I teach this exactly. This is not my first rodeo. ESI, even though they've been crashing lately from 6 to 2 because the SEC just came down on them for fraud, this was my best buy alert ever right here. The company had already reported good news. It was very similar. It was down from the 40s, the 60s actually, down to $3 a share. So it's down 95%, and the company reported good news here. And I was buying it in the 5s, and I was selling it nearly 6s. I totally underestimated it. A day later, it was at 14. But the same kind of thing. There were 13 million shares that were short. So just because a stock is down 80, 90, 95% does not mean that it's going to stay down. Everyone loves a comeback. And even though ESI's comeback failed, the stock did triple off of its lows. And you didn't have to predict the news. The news was already out when I bought. So understand, focus on companies that are hard hit like this and can squeeze shorts. And if that happens, they can bounce. And then it's just a question of riding it on the way up. And how quickly will it bounce? How many shorts will cover? It's a very inexact science. But if you look at key indicators, namely with NES, we saw that there was a clear safety in the low 5s here. It couldn't break 490 here a few times. And then the high here was 515. The low yesterday in the afternoon was 512. So my buying it here at 513, yes, it didn't have an exact bottom, but that's the beauty of penny stocks. You don't have exact bottoms and exact tops. It's all kind of a moving problem. It's a moving equation, and you have to deal with that. If I got executed at 514, 515, even 520, I would be happy because I'm getting on a dip past 548 below, so nearly 30 cents, 35 cents below the previous high yesterday. And my whole goal was that it was going to break yesterday's high at 548, and I would be able to sell into these 550s. I actually sold in the 540s because I played it safe like a little bitch, the way that I always trade. But I was right that it would retest, and I was even more right that it broke out past 550, and that led it to it going to 6. So I would not be buying it here. I hope it comes back down. If it comes down to the 540s, I might rebuy it, but I'm not going to chase it. This is how I meticulously trade. I look at my entries, I look at the framework as a whole, the situation as a whole, and this is why I have better odds on every single trade. I know you don't want to think about all this complicated stuff. Why do you care about short sellers? Just tell me if the stock is a buy. I'm not some ugly, balding man on CNBC who's right 35% of the time. I am a better looking, younger, fatter guy who's not on TV. I'm on YouTube, and I post these little video lessons, and I show you how I structure the trade. It could have easily kept dipping. I could have been wrong, and I would have cut losses at like 5-ish, and I would have lost 10, 15 cents a share. But if I lose 10 or 15 cents a share, and I think I'm right, and it's going to go up to 550, 555 maybe, I have 40 cents of upside. So I have double or maybe even triple, as it turned out it was like quintuple, the amount of potential reward versus the risk. That is how I trade. Always looking at what is the potential reward versus the risk. I was wrong about MCN today. I thought this was going to break out past 515. It gave it a shot. It couldn't do it. It actually tried twice, and maybe next week it does, but it reports earnings, so I'm not going to guess ahead of time. But I bought it at 514, 515, and it couldn't break it, so I sold at 512. A lot of people are like, oh, Tim, you bought right at the top. Boo-hoo. Yes, I bought at the top, but I lost 2 cents a share. As I said during my webinar today, I don't mind losing 2 cents a share on a stock like this and then making 30 cents a share. If you lose 2 cents a share on the same size position as the other one, you lose 2 cents here, you make 30 cents there, you do that day after day after day after day, it's okay to be wrong and you get richer. So this is how I trade. This is how I grow my account exponentially. This is why I'll keep growing my account exponentially, especially my ETrade account when I open a small account and I double it faster than you think might be possible. This is what I teach in the DVDs. You have exactly 48 hours from the time I publish this video to capture these savings on these DVDs and newsletters if you want more video lessons. That's what it comes down to. Trade after trade, pattern after pattern. I share everything I learned. Anyways, congrats, guys. I'm just pumped up right now about this week. I think now, already halfway through May, I believe that we have passed over $1 million in student profits. I got to check. There's a lot of trades. I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm going to try and catch up this weekend. But I do believe we have passed $1 million in just 2 weeks between all the students. And people are banking left and right. Unfortunately, a lot of you guys are not following the rules or you don't know the rules or you haven't learned them. Please, please, please watch these DVDs. Don't just buy them. Watch them. Watch all 35 hours of the How to Make Millions DVD. It's for a good cause, and it's good for you too, just to follow these kinds of patterns, study past examples so that you're better prepared for the present and you can capture more opportunities in the future. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the chat room next week. Have a great weekend. Love you.